Hey everyone, it's Justin. Thank you for watching and welcome to my house. That's Justin's house. In this video, it's ServiceNow Store highlights, or SSH version 12.16.2022. I got a bit of a reprieve this week from the updates to the store after last week's massive update. This week, or since the last video, there have only been 32 updates. Of those 32 updates, let's jump right in here and take a look at what came for compatibility. Compatibility is people updating their apps to be compatible with the newer release of ServiceNow, like Rome, San Diego, or Tokyo. So Sisker Intersite ITSM plugin, Flashpoint for security incident response, and Zoom In all had some compatibility updates. Next up are fixes. You're going to see some of the fixes are also in our highlights, so just be aware of that. But the people who've released some fixes for their apps are the Beyond Trust PRA integration, Cisco Intersite ITSM plugin, Digital Portfolio Management, Privacy Hub LPPD Turkish Data Protection Law. There's also a Brazilian data protection law that should show up in the highlights. SHI integration for procurement service management, and zoom in again on the fixes. Next up after fixes are going to be, let's go to release note fail before we go to the new releases. So release notes fail. Sad to say that ServiceNow is in here again with not updating the release notes, but Automate Pro, Express Connect Incidents, Platform Doctor, SailPoint Identity Governance Connector, Secure Onyx IT Incident App, Service Operations, Workspace ITOM Apps, and Wonder by Intellective all had no helpful release notes. Just to show you, we'll pull up the ServiceNow one. You can see I have useless release notes there, so I can't tell you what changed in these, but something changed and they failed to put it in the release notes. All right, next up, new releases. These are new apps in the ServiceNow store. We'll start with the Accenture ATO Automation. It's a joint offering between ServiceNow and Accenture, and it is about the authority to operate, or ATO automation capability that integrates the information assurance and workflow automation to enable acceleration of assessment and authorization, or ANA, processes. So key features: Quick Start allows setup in as little as 6 weeks, real-time dashboards for your executives, pre-built integrations to existing federal compliance systems such as EMAS or CSAM, and automated artifacts generation. So thank you ServiceNow and Accenture for that new application. Next up is Cognizant Service Provider Network. This is for service providers that are trying to manage service requests and engage partners, customers, and corporate clients. So some key features for this one: Google Maps highlighting coverage areas for partners and services, color coverage zone highlighting service type availability, work order creation and real-time work order status. 18 languages are supported in this application. Technical features: filter map by partner, streamline partner selections, pricing negotiation and acceptance, partner services dashboard, and e-bonding between client, partners, and customer instances for automated ticket creation and seamless real-time status updates. I don't know about you guys, but if you have an e-bonding need, that's pretty much a good reason to have that app right there, just depending on what you're using ServiceNow for. This one looks to be related to service providers, so think customer service and using partners and people to provide that service. So thank you Cognizant for that new release in the ServiceNow store. Next up is Cybereason. I had to go to YouTube to figure out how to pronounce this because it really says Cybereason, but when I noticed in the videos, everybody's saying Cybereason, so there's actually an extra R in there when you pronounce it. But this is an endpoint protection platform integrated with ServiceNow, allowing for the automatic triage of security breaches, proactive investigation and threat hunting, actionable reports, and detecting threat actors. So the app can be used to create security incidents for malop and malware incidents already present in the incident table, and then users can update the malop state and update the assignment group from within the Cybereason SIR app. So what I read this as is there's incidents over here in Cybereason, there's incidents over here in ServiceNow, and we're keeping them in sync. So you update something here, updates over there. That's what I get from this app. So if you're a Cybereason user, sounds like, and a ServiceNow user, you might be interested in this new application. Next up is eCall Business Messaging SMS Notify, another new release for SMS messaging from ServiceNow about ITSM events. So it's built on Now. You can notify your team about new, change, or closed incidents, problems, or changes, minimize coordination. Lots of bold text there, but the key features: send SMS through eCall. So forward problems, incidents, or changes. Use the address book to select recipients. Automated triggers. I hear flows. Use variables to define variable message content, and profit from eCall's delivery success, availability, and pricing. So thank you, eCall, for that new app in the ServiceNow store. Next up is enosix, SAP integration for PO and asset management. I actually saw this one ahead of time and just ignored the enosix part, but if you're using SAP for procurement and asset management, and you're using ITAM or IT Asset Management, HAM and SAM, now they're integrating it so you can quickly and easily generate purchase orders in ServiceNow procurement, leveraging the complex data logic of SAP with 100% data accuracy. That's quite the claim. 70% reduction time and costs, in time and cost of the SAP integration. So normally, you know, when we do integrations, we've got to figure out if this updates here, what do we do with it over here, and make calls and if-thens and conditions and logic. So they're saying you can skip all that and just use this app. We've done the work for you, reducing the time to do it by 70%. Remove spreadsheets and database models, focus your skilled SAP resources on other value-creating projects, so not working with the ServiceNow team to do a custom integration. Now they can just use this app. Features, integration handled via real-time REST API, no-code solution for integrating or accessing the SAP integration objects. Certified for ECC and S/4 HANA with easy upgrade with no code changes. Not sure on pronunciation there, so someone will probably correct me. If you know how to pronounce it, leave me a comment down below. ServiceNow apps can access natively using REST and native JavaScript JSON data, so no customer coding required. Pre-built components, that's what ServiceNow is all about. Easy self-guided setup, provides integrated real-time experience for creating purchase orders in SAP, and uses on-demand data mapping to accelerate implementation. So thank you, SAP, for that application in the ServiceNow store. Next up is Fujitsu STANZA Extension for Field Service Management, or FSM. And so basically, I've seen this in a past couple of episodes, but enables customers using ServiceNow's FSM, or Field Service Management, and Fujitsu STANZA base application to invoice customers for billable parts and services for their Field Service Management, or FSM, work orders. So it also enables the synchronization of inventory between Fujitsu STANZA product inventory and asset inventory in the Field Service Management application in ServiceNow. So thank you, Fujitsu, for that new release in the ServiceNow store. Next up, we've got Infosys Intent-Based Service Order Management. So with Intent-Based Service Order Management from Infosys and ServiceNow, communication service providers, or CSPs, can quickly understand and meet customer needs by asking smart questions, uniting order management across sales and in-life service, all on one platform. So the key features here: service management, inventory management, technical features, NLP, or natural language processing, ML framework, or machine learning framework, virtual agent, and the one acronym I don't know, TMF Open APIs. TMF. Yeah, it doesn't ring a bell. TMF. It will as soon as I probably stop recording. But thank you, Infosys, for that new app in the ServiceNow store. Next up is the Tech Mahindra B2B Digital Concierge. So this is powering your B2B2X strategy with a connected ecosystem. Key features: single pane of glass view of ops, standardization to a signature experience, solutions interoperability, zero-touch customer experience. The features technically on this one: a standardized CMDB models, uniform request management, workflows-based service management, and flow-through design to systems of records and networks. So thank you, Tech Mahindra, for this new app in the ServiceNow store. So that's our new releases. We had 8 of them since our last update. Now we're going to move into the last part of our update here, and that's the highlights. We've only got 12 of them. We'll probably go through them pretty fast. First is the Avenir. I hope I'm saying that right. If you know how to say it, leave me a comment down below. Invoice flow. So we got some updates to split invoice PDF, mark invoices as duplicate and reviewed, reprocess an invoice with or without extraction rerun, bulk operation support, enhanced dashboards and reporting, and usability enhancements. For those of you that are in the release notes fail bucket over and over again, episode after episode, this is what release notes looks like. This is what tells us what changed. So thank you, Avenir and Invoice Flow, for some great release notes so we know what changed and why we might want to go update. Next up, Cisco PLSS, or Partner Lifecycle Services Support. Attachment sent from a Cisco task record to a parent record should be made optional. Select the ticket type field value to shadow by default. Not select, set. Additional comments and work notes copied from parent record to the task is optional now, and end customer information tab on the task form should be optional. So if you're using this, we've got some nice fixes, it looks like, and yeah, mostly fixes or enhancements for that application. So thank you for those great release notes, Cisco PLSS. Citrix IT Service Management Connector, another great example of good release notes. Support for delegated session reset, providing troubleshooting insights to help desk based on user-reported session failures. Sample workflow for the run PowerShell scripts on a machine, custom activity, and probably in Flow Designer. New custom activity to assign persistent desktop to users, and enhancements to the Citrix alert and notification policy. So if you're using Citrix IT Service Management or Citrix, I guess, and you want to connect this to ServiceNow and you want some updates, those are the new release notes for the Citrix IT Service Management connector. Next is Decipher. This one was fun. Basically, a 2.0, lots of new features around risk and attack surface. So the ServiceNow application will be performing data ingestion around domain and IP vulnerability, certificate configuration to open ports, domain reputation, and open bucket. I'm not going to read all of these to you. I'm going to highlight the one that stuck out to me. I don't think they are talking about the verb of executing people, but there's some risk categories around impersonation, domain and IT assets, and that. Probably could be phrased a little bit better, but I don't know this business or that industry. Brand infringement, data breach, and some other stuff around search and updating. So this one, I felt like when I read this, it was translated because the English was a bit weird and the organization was a bit weird. So I don't know if it came from something different or there was some translation in. It just didn't feel really well laid out. So I had a hard time following what it is. But if you're a Decipher customer or a Cyfirma customer, there's a 2.0 version of it, and you may want to check out these features for the update. Digital portfolio management, man, talk about a good list of fixes. You can see them all there. Issues with incident scores and ACL issues, mean time to resolve KPIs, performance snapshots in the KPI group. So tons and tons of fixes in this particular one. I'm pretty certain, we'll go ahead and click on this one, that this is a ServiceNow application, digital portfolio management, and it is. So kudos to that team on the ServiceNow side for giving us some great release notes. They are fixes, but I also include them in the highlight section of this update. Platcore LMS. Same thing, version 3.4.1, Tokyo support, improved instructor portal page, fixed an error on the page, added property limit, tons of fixes and enhancements in this release of 3.4.1 for Platcore LMS, or the learning management system. So thank you, Platcore, for some great release notes. If you're one of their customers and you're using ServiceNow, go check out that update. Up next, Privacy Hub. LGPD. This is the Brazilian version of the one you saw on the fixes for Turkey, I believe it was. I kept this in here so you could see there's no additional features introduced in the release, so I assumed on this one and the other one that this is probably fixes, and that's why I left one in fixes and one highlight, so I could explain that. Next up is SailPoint Identity Now for Service Catalog v2. In version 2.3.28 of v2, there was some approval flexibility, so ability to configure some rules, keep the history, and following the type approval rules are supported. And you can see their user group, role manager, script, and workflow. So great release notes from the SailPoint Identity Now for Service Catalog team. Next up, Swiss Tool added support for list bottom function buttons, new on-click option, improved data table styles, allowing focus on an element by providing CSS selector, and improved functionality and styling options of a loading indicator. So thank you, Swiss Tool, for some great release notes. Next up, Tenable for vulnerability response. Basically, looks like a real incremental update to support a newer version of Tenable.ot. Usually I see Tenable.io, but I don't know what Tenable.ot is, but you know what I bet it is? I bet it's operational technology vulnerabilities. So Tenable.ot 3.13 plus, and then fixed an issue where in some cases there's Tenable.io. Tenable.io customers may miss a small portion of vulnerabilities. I don't know why that makes me laugh, but you know, vulnerabilities are really important. So if you're a vulnerability customer and you're using Tenable for VR, you may want to get this because you're missing some vulnerabilities, and that's important. We want you to have those. So thank you, Tenable, for some good update release notes. Next up on the list is going to be Tenable connector, same thing, same notes, so I won't read them to you, but looks like these two come together and got updated at the same time. Zoom in looks like to be our last highlight. This is one I told you I saw Rome, San Diego, and Tokyo compatibility. Thank you for supporting those. I bet they just added Tokyo to this, and Rome and San Diego had probably been there all along. Improved look and feel of the topic and library pages. Zoom in analytics event implementation phase 1, and some bug fixes for the table of contents or TOC loading and table styling issues. You never know. These acronyms may mean more than one thing in different industries and different applications, different products. So that is it for SSH version 12.16.2022. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please like, please subscribe, or share it with somebody who you think might be interested in wading through all of the updates and trying to figure out what's important, what they might want to go look at every week on the ServiceNow store. Until next time, don't forget to always be learning.